Our group chose to tell the story of Jose Rizal as a journey, from a child in Calamba to a thinker who helped awaken a nation. In this video, we will explore 5 key chapters of his life: his early upbringing, education, travels and exile, the colonial system and challenge, and finally, his legacy and our own reflections on his relevance today. Jose Rizal was born in Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861, into Principalia family that was comfortable but still under the control of Spanish friar landlords. His father Francisco was a hard-working farmer who rented land from the Dominicans, while his mother Teodora, highly educated and cultured, became his first teacher and model of moral strength. Surrounded by supportive siblings, Pasiano the nationalist mentor, sisters like Saturnita and Narcisa who funded and protected him, and Trinidad who later kept his final poem. Rizal grew up in a close-knit household that valued learning and discipline. Early pains such as the death of his little sister Concha and the unjust arrest and long march of his mother gave him a personal experience of grief and colonial injustice.
Seeing how much his family influenced him made us realize that heroes are formed first at home through everyday examples of courage and integrity.
From this emotionally intense childhood, Rizal carried forward two powerful tools: a love for learning and a deep sensitivity to injustice. Rizal's education began at home and in Binyan, where strict teachers, long study hours, and even a fist fight with a bully taught him both intellectual excellence and the need to stand up for himself. At Ateneo Municipal, he flourished, consistently topping his class and sharpening his skills in writing and the arts. But at the University of Santo Tomas, he encountered racial discrimination from some Dominican professors, which pushed him to question the colonial system more critically. Seeking academic freedom, he continued his studies in Madrid, taking both medicine and philosophy and letters, then specialized further in Paris and Heidelberg as an eye doctor while finishing his novel Noli Me Tangere in Berlin. Along the way, he mastered many languages, engaged with scientists and scholars, and used history, literature, and science as tools to understand and challenge the situation of the Philippines.
So, his journey shows that education for Rizal was not just about titles, it was the preparation for service. That challenges us to see our own schooling as training for helping our communities, not just ourselves.
Armed with knowledge and a sharpened pen, Rizal then stepped into a wider world that would test his ideas even more. In Europe, Madrid, Paris, Heidelberg, Berlin, London, and Ghent, Rizal studied, wrote for reformist newspapers, and completed his two great novels, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, both exposing the abuses of friars and colonial officials. On his routes through Singapore, Ceylon, Hong Kong, Japan, and other Asian ports, he observed how different empires ruled their colonies, giving him models for reforms and a clear sense of what a fairer system might look like. When he returned to the Philippines in 1892, the Spanish authorities, afraid of his influence, exiled him to the Pitan in Mindanao. There, he turned isolation into opportunity. He opened a free clinic, built a small school for boys, designed a water system, experimented with farming, collected scientific specimens, and created artworks, all while trying to form a family with Josephine Bracken despite personal tragedy.
His travels made him global, but the Piton proved that his ideals were real. Even when silenced, he kept serving people in practical ways, healing, teaching, and improving daily life.
To understand why these peaceful actions were still viewed as dangerous, we now zoom out to the wider system Rizal was confronting. Under Spanish rule, Philippine society was arranged like a steep pyramid. Peninsulares or Spaniards born in Spain held top positions. Insulares or Spaniards born in the colony ranked below. And at the base were the Indios, native Filipinos, burdened by tributo taxes and forced labor called polo et servicio. Friar orders owned huge tract of land, dominated education, controlled fiestas and local politics, and often blocked ordinary Filipinos from learning Spanish or accessing higher schooling. Out of this environment grew the propaganda movement, led by ilustrados like Rizal, Graciano Lopez Jaena, and Marcelo del Pilar, who used newspapers such as La Solidaridad to call for reforms, equal rights, representation in the Spanish Cortes, secularization of parishes, and freedom of speech and press. Their campaign was largely ignored, reforms were weak, funding dried up, and Rizal was eventually exiled. But the ideas they spread helped shape a shared Filipino identity and paved the way for the 1896 revolution.
Studying this context made it clear that Rizal's writings were not just literature, they were dangerous because they named the injustices of a whole system and offered people a language to resist.
Even after his trial and execution, that language of dignity and critical love for his country continued to echo far beyond his lifetime. Rizal's main weapon was never an army, but ideas. He defined nationalism as an awakening of minds and morals through education, writing, and civic organization like La Liga Filipina. Although some revolutionaries, such as Andres Bonifacio, believed armed struggle was necessary, Rizal's execution in 1896 turned him into a powerful symbol whose death helped ignite the very revolt he had feared would be bloody. Today, his works still mirror our realities: corrupt officials, abused power, and ordinary people caught in between, reminding citizens that nationalism also means everyday integrity, rejecting bribery, demanding truth, and caring for community. His life also speaks to students, activists, and overseas Filipinos that we must use education responsibly, criticize systems without hatred, and contribute to the country's progress wherever you are.
As we created this video, we stopped seeing Rizal as just a monument.
We saw a son, student, migrant, teacher, and friend who kept asking hard questions.
He forces us to ask, how are we using our own talents and privileges?
And in our time of disinformation and division, his goal remains the same: think critically, love the country honestly, and serve both with courage and compassion.